The last one of the day. Helen's going to come and have a yarn to us about appointment of electoral officer. And we may have to go into a bit of public excluded, but it's the last one of the day, so we'll see what we've got. I'm happy to second it.
Kia ora koutou. This report before you recommends the appointment of an external electoral professional as the council's electoral officer. This is, in my view, and the advice in the report before you, the most effective way to protect the integrity of the election. And I do just want to be clear, it's not to suggest at all that there has been any compromise of integrity or to date, but while the electoral officer is also a staff member, that risk of perception of partiality remains. So, for example, one of the duties of the electoral officer is to deal with any complaints that electoral legislation has been breached, and the decision that an electoral officer takes about how to deal with that complaint could be something that could be questioned at a later date, particularly if that complaint was made by a sitting member who is also a candidate or against a sitting member who is also a candidate. So what I've covered in the report is that an external electoral officer provides that different external independent source of truth. They are somebody who not only has experience of elections in this council, but in a number of councils across New Zealand, which gives a different breadth and depth of experience when it comes to making the difficult calls, and which supports generally the perception of fairness and transparency. We are out of step with the rest of the country here. There are only 6 councils, including us, which have a staff member as the electoral officer. One of those is Chatham Islands, and 2 of those are regional councils. So we are not currently in step with best practice. What I would like to suggest, as I'm aware there's a couple of points which can only be answered in PX, is that the meeting moves into PX at this point. Mr Mayor, is my suggestion to you, and I can deal with those matters there.
Mm-hmm. My question's not a PX.
And we can come out of PX at the end, would be my suggestion.
So go in now.
To deal with a decision in public.
Go in now, is that what you're saying?
It's my suggestion to you, yes.
Okay, all right, and then we can... I'll move. Right, Pauline will move, I'll second to go into PX. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Thank you, that's carried. Happy? Thank you very much. Welcome back, everybody. And we have Melanie with a question.
I was wondering if I'm not sure how to word this. What I want to know is that whether there'd be any limitations on the way that we perform the voting. My understanding is that last time we sort of had ways that people could deliver their postal vote, not just via the post. Will all of those things still remain, and will we still have that flexibility, or does the electoral officer control that? Like, where does the decision making around that come from?
So that planning's already underway about how we support participation and accessibility.
Can I
That won't
just
be affected by this decision.
clarify that one of the things is in the legislation is the CE has responsibility for ensuring participation. So the team are already planning that, extending the things like the bins out in a whole of different spots beyond where they are.
Make it
and
as easy as
the
possible.
comms and engagement team are already doing the work so that we're already ahead of the game in terms of addressing the issues you're talking about. When I say we, it's the royal we, that team down there.
Are we working with the community engagement team, like to get votes from specific
yes,
people?
we
and
are.
all that?
We are.
Yeah. Okay, great.
More bins than last time.
Yanni, then Andre.
Yeah, thank you. I just wondered if there was any guidance on best practice of having a returning officer independent of the election, the company that runs the elections. Do you know what I mean? Like, given that this is the same company that runs the elections, is there any guidance around whether it's better to have a returning officer that's independent from that company around process?
I'm not aware of any guidance to that effect, and I'm not aware of any council that has appointed an electoral officer who is not either a professional electoral services officer or a staff member.
Sorry, so most councils that don't have an in-house returning officer use a returning officer from the company that runs the election.
Yes,
Yes.
Right.
they do.
Okay. Thanks.
Andre.
Just on the engagement participation stuff, is that something we'll have a briefing on in the nearest future? Not sure. Cool. Thank you.
Okay, so we have everyone happy? Oh, debate? No. Righto. We have a mover and seconder. I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Wonderful. Thank you. Carried. So we do the Karakia department. We got there in the end.